Cuttance. I'm a designer maker based in a studio in London, but I'm here in Plymouth doing residency at the College of Art. And I primarily work with casting processes, casting a lot of small objects, vases, light shades, etc. I'm quite sort of old school in my approach. I've got a background of making in a lot of different materials and a lot of different processes, so I'm very hands-on. I came to Plymouth with a sort of a preconceived idea of visiting an earlier project I'd done and utilised the Fab Labs CNC technologies to basically push that process somewhere else. And I discovered that there was an opportunity there where I was actually limited by what I could do by hand. Then I start with using illustration software. I use Adobe Illustrator just to draw in 2 dimensions. I'm always thinking about 3-dimensional objects, but thinking about how to make them from a sheet material. So I sort of have 3-dimensional objects in mind or how they might look, but then I start with a 2-dimensional drawing on the computer, and I'm basically drawing a bunch of vector lines that I know that the router will cut out. I don't really use a lot of CAD software or modeling software. That's kind of deliberate. I didn't really learn those things when I studied, and I'm a little bit stubborn about, I sort of see a lot of value in making things by hand, and I think if you can make something by hand, it's sort of more impressive. The stage I'm at now with the process is I want to repeat this, but on a larger scale, and make much bigger molds. Big flexible molds in which I can cast things, but the challenge will be, as I'm casting into this, there you go, how do I support it? So with this process, I'd love to sort of make this mold much bigger and make really large vessels, or I could make big sort of shaped cabinets or curved tiles. I think that's what I like about it, is that I've come up with a process as opposed to a finished object, and that process is flexible enough that it should enable me to make all sorts of objects of all sorts of scales. Sort of the first time I've worked with routering like this. I've kept sort of the handmade ethos of my process, which is really important to me, but there was a spot where I could just tinker with my process, add a little bit of digital technology and achieve something that I couldn't have otherwise.